Right, hello, welcome back again. So hopefully you watched the last episode, and we finished all these sills off on this driver's side. So really good achievement, I think. In today's episode, all I want to do is finish off all the other little bits: seam sealer, paint with Pour 15, fit this outrigger from the chassis. Yeah, put those plates behind the rear sill and box it all in. Yeah, just finish off all the little bits before we get to the rear wheel arch. And then we'll do the rear wheel arch in the final episode on this side. So yeah, I'm not going to waste any time, and we're just going to start going on something. I've not decided yet, but I'm sure you'll join me in a second. So decided we're going to get going on just spraying some of that rust inhibit primer underneath, so that we can protect it all. And then we're going to seam seal as much as we can before I put that chassis outrigger on. So I'm going to put you on a time lapse and we'll get going with doing a bit of spraying and a bit of seam sealing, I think. So underseal quite a lot of those stuff that I missed before, just making sure that I've got into the actual seal itself. Again, all going to be covered by the wing, so I wasn't too bothered about taping this section up and making it look pretty. I was just trying to get everything protected. But this bit inside there is going to be visible. You're going to be able to see it through the paint, so I tried to make that look a little bit nicer. Done inside here, but you might be able to tell in this light. And I've also done there, and I just piled it in there just to try and protect it as much as possible and up as far as I can get in the rear wing. So I need to let all that underseal dry before I come and do any more painting or anything. So I think it's time to try and tackle this box section, outrigger, chassis extender, jacking point. I don't know what it's called. It's all of the above. So this goes underneath the car, connects to the chassis, rails in the middle, and it ties into the castle section. Now on here is meant to be a jacking point, so it's like a tube. You might have seen me take it off. It's like a tube with two tabs that connect to there, and it's for the old-fashioned style MG jack that used to go into it, jack both of the wheels up at the same time. I'm not going to put that back on. I don't think it looks very nice, and I don't think many people have that original MG jack anymore anyway, and I've been told that it was quite a dangerous jack to use in the first place. So I'm not going to put that little jacking point on, but I am going to obviously tie the chassis rails into that castle section using that little bit of box section there. So I need to clean everything up. I need to cut back the original one to where I want it. I can cut this to the right size, and then we will drill holes in it, spot weld it to the floor, and then seam weld it to the castle section. So I'll start getting on with that now. So the outrigger is all sprayed up in that weld-through primer. Yeah, I'll have seen on the time lapse. It fits really nicely in there now. I had to have a few stabs at it, but now fits really nicely. And while that in, I am going to come and remove all this under seal at some point. And I'm sure we'll reveal a load more little rust holes and things, but I think it's worth it. And paint it all with Por 15. I also need to have a look at all this wiring and stuff, but you can see where it's not even got anything around it. Over here, it's just bare wires underneath the car, so I don't think that's ideal. But yeah, just going to let this dry off, and then it should just be welded into place. Spot weld it where I've drilled, seam it into the other one, and spot weld it to the castle section. Probably maybe do a little seam on either side of this tab as well. Yeah, and it is called the outrigger. I just had a look at the part number, and it is the outrigger. So there we go. So whilst that outrigger's drying, I'm going to tackle the end of this sill. So I need to put a plate there that comes into the castle section along here and meets that plate. And then I need to fit something in behind here. I think I'll use a bit of CAD, cardboard design, and make something the same shape as that outer sill, just to plate it in. It needs to have a slight kind of bend in it, or I'll just set it backwards a bit further, because if you remember, I need to plate this as well, which I'm going to put somewhere like that, I think, just before that bend in the outer wheel arch. But I'll do that in next episode. I just need to do this and that in this episode, because then this bit will be all watertight and finished. I don't know what the official procedure is for this end bit. I'm just kind of making it up as I go along, but I'm sure anything I do will help it out. So yeah, I'll get on with kind of trying to measure up for some different panels there, I think. So that little time lapse you watch, probably about 30 seconds worth, a couple of hours for me. So we're just in the process of kind of trying to fix that, the end of the sill. It is a little bit tricky. So you saw me make a few panels, weld a few bits in. So I'll just kind of show you where we're up to and what's left to do now then. So you can see I've welded along there just to complete that inner sill end bit. The inner wheel arch kind of fits around all of that, so that is actually how that's meant to be. So yeah, I'm just going to do exactly the same, come over the top of it like it's designed to. You saw me make this panel up, which I'm going to fit up into here and weld in. I then just need to make one up for the bottom here with that curve in it, and then this back bit's done until we get the inner wheel arch sorted. So I'll weld this bit in now, I think, then come along and put some CAD, cardboard design in here and weld it in. So yeah, we'll start doing that. That chassis outrigger is dry now, so as soon as I've done with this bit, I can crack on with welding that in as well. So yeah, I'll put you back on the stand and I'll just get cracking on it. Right then, this little bit of the edge is all welded in to close off that. So I just need to finish off this bit. The reason I didn't do this all in one is because this is at an angle. So I've cut that out of cardboard. So I won't make you watch me do that again. I'll just go ahead and cut that out, and we'll get that bit welded in on this bit, and then all that inner sill should be nice and protected. I will come and do some sealant around these, but again, there is going to be an inner wheel arch around that. So yeah, we'll get that done now. Right, I know I normally do things on a time lapse, but I thought I might actually do this. Give you all a little bit of a insight into what's actually going on. So we've painted the back of this little panel that I've made. Through in there. It's going to be quite hard to hold it into position actually, because there's nothing for me to clamp on. There's no magnetic surface for me to do because it's not a straight line. It's not quite a 45-degree angle either. So I'm just going to try and hold it into position and tack it at the top and bend it down to fit down here. So I'll get on with that now. I always want to start off with a fresh bit of welding wire. Normally have it about an inch proud of the nozzle. Now this is the tricky bit. And that's why I like wearing those TIG gloves, but obviously I've burnt myself so much now that it's not practical. But definitely easier to line things up and stuff. Right, I know I've got the bare hand here. I literally just want to attack in that corner. There we go. Right, so that's now held in position. I obviously need to move that corner in slightly as well, but I can start welding her up now. Right, so as I'm welding this, I'm literally just I'm trying to do attack after attack after attack, just to kind of, I don't want to, obviously it doesn't matter as much on this piece, but I don't want to try and warp it. And obviously with this gasless welder, it's quite an art to kind of get any kind of decent weld. You need, if you do a run, you just blow through instantly. You literally want to hold the trigger for milliseconds, just enough so you've bridged the gap between both pieces of metal, and then let go again. So I'm waiting for it to basically go from that bright orange to a dull orange before I hit my next load of wiring. I'm going to do a tack down in this corner now, so that when I do this side, that side doesn't pop out. Right, that tack's in there. So now I'm just going to try my best, even though I can't really get my head in because of this brake. I'm going to try my best just to go around that corner there and go down. No, that's not too bad. Obviously very tricky to get in there, to be honest. I've just noticed this bit that's not welded, so I'm just going to come across here and do the top, and then I'll do down that seam. I'm trying to ignore the piece of slag hitting your legs and burning you. Right, now down this seam here, which is going to be hard for you to see, but You'll have to trust me, it's happening. You can hear it blowing through then. Just did a few tacks too quickly. Right, I just need to clean that up because I've lost my ground. You can see where it's heated up on the outside. I've got nice penetration through the weld. Well, everything's on fire again. There's just a little bit here where it's not quite taken, so I'm just going to do a little seam there. Right, happy days, all welded in. Managed to avoid every piece of wire as well and not melt anything. So that's good. I'll just show you what we've just done in that kind of 10 minutes there. You see that's just a shadow there. It is actually welded in. Well, that patch is all done. So this end piece of wing now, not wing, this end piece, I don't know if you can hear me properly because I've put the microphone on the car, but this end piece of like sill capping is now done. I just need to come back and grind all this down and then we'll paint it up. And then we'll move on to that outrigger there. So we'll let that end cap of the sill dry and just painted it all up. And once it's dry, we'll put some seam sealer on it, just in the corners where all the road grime and stuff will kind of build up. So I'll show you that now. So you can see all nicely welded up. I can't grind out in the corners. There's going to be a inner wheel arch around most of it, and then that bit at the bottom I will put some seed sealer probably over the whole thing just to protect it, because there'll be quite a lot of road grind getting flicked up into that. So yeah, we'll wait for that to dry, put some seam sealant on it. In the meantime, we'll start the thing that we started at the start of the day, because that'll be well and truly dry now. So we'll get that all clamped up in position, weld through the spot weld and seam around the joint between the new bit and the old bit. So I'll put you on a bit of a time lapse so you can kind of see that process happening. Right, well that is welded in of sorts. It's really tricky. I couldn't get a good ground, so all my spot welds or puddle welds weren't really working very well. So it's in and it's strong, it's just there's a lot of grinding to do, and it's definitely probably one of my worst welds so far on this MG, to be honest. The weld between the old bit of chassis leg and the new outrigger is quite good, but the spot welds or puddle welds aren't great, to be honest. So I need to get back in there. Well, I'm going to let it cool off, get back in there, grind it back and see what I'm left with, and then I'll see if I can make it stronger in any way, because yeah, I'm not happy with that really. So I'm going to go back in, see if I can make it stronger anyway, and then I'll show you kind of the end result after we've kind of ground it back and stuff. So yeah, a little bit disappointed with that, to be honest. Good boy, bring it here. Right, I've ground all those welds back. Bring it here. Yeah, ground all those welds back. Not as bad as I first thought, to be honest. I think I put so much weld on there that they did actually stick eventually. Archie, leave. So I'll get in there and show you in a second. I'm just having a few minutes outside. I did go through about 5 grinding belts and it took about an hour, but still, it's all ground back. And I'll go in and show you in a second. So you can see it is all welded in. Not as bad as I first made out, I don't think. So I'll come in now, spray over it with some rust preventive primer, and then we'll get the seam sealant out and start doing a bit of seam sealant around all those dodgy welds. Alright, so that's all painted up. Obviously I need to let that dry. I'm just kind of thinking, what can I get on with whilst that's drying. So I think I'll put some seam sealer on the back, and I'll start to sand this down a bit flatter. So yeah, just little bits and bobs really, just whilst I'm letting that dry. Right, that looks a little bit better. It's not quite filled the whole gap. So I'm going to come back over that with some proper, just body filler, I think, because I filled the biggest bit where it was a bit warped with some fiberglass. It's all nice and smooth now, but I do need to just make it level and get a big block in. So I just need a really light skim body filler over it, and then I need to do the sills where I put a bit of fiberglass over them just to make them look a bit better. But anyway, that's a bit of time wasting done. I need to put some seam sealant around that outrigger there. So I went ahead and put some seam sealer on. You've seen me do that loads of times, so I didn't think you really needed to see that. Now, I've put a lot on, but as I said, there's a plate fitting over the top of that. But that bit's going to be exposed, so I just wanted it to be as protected as possible, to be honest. I'll also be painting over it with Por 15. Underneath, again, the seam sealant seemed to mix a little bit with the underseal, to be honest. So that's why it looks a bit dodgy. So I'm going to have to come back and do something with that, but it's all sealed anyway. So I need to let all that dry, to be honest. Again, I'm running out of time today. So I think what I'll do is come back in the morning and pour 15 everywhere that's not going to be exposed. So yeah, we will see you in the morning. Good morning. So we managed to get all that underseal done yesterday and fix up those little niggly bits and bobs. All I want to do today, or this morning, is paint where I can do with that Por 15 paint. So I'll turn the camera around and I'll show you the other little bits I need to do, and then we'll just get going with it. So I want to paint all this bit with Por 15, all the sill up to this line here, and the same in the back here. Paint all of that up to this line here, because obviously this needs to be body coloured because that's going to be on show. I also want to come in with a wire brush on the grinder, clean all this up, and then what I'll do is I'll put a piece of tape along the top here, also paint that with Por 15. So let's just get going with it. Right, so that's all painted up in pour 15. So I need to let that dry. Looks quite good. And the same with the back in here. I went up as far as I could. Obviously, I want to try and leave this wheel arch because I don't know what the extent of the welding is going to be. I've also left these tabs here exposed just because I think I'm going to have to seam them to the inner wheel arch. So yeah, all that's prepared. So I need to clean up underneath the car and paint some pour 15 in there. And I've noticed one little repair that I forgot about, which is just at the front here. So I just need to put a seam of weld where I had to split down there. Now it'll burn this sealant off, but I'll have to reapply that. I just need to weld a seam down there, just to tie the outer sill in with the bulkhead. But yeah, that looks quite good, I think, even though it doesn't really matter because it's all covered up, but at least it's nice and protected. So you join me under the floor of the car. So I was going to scrape all this under seal off, which I am still going to do. I'm just not going to do it now. I think it'd be better to do that once I've got a ramp or an easier way to do it. So I will do that, but just not quite yet. So what I'm going to do is come in here and paint as much as I can with the pour 15. I don't know how much of that you can see, but I'm going to paint as much as that as I can with the pour 15 just to get it nice and protected. Right, all that pour 15 underneath is in, so it's just dry now. Managed to escape with very little pour 15 on my fingers, which is really good. Normally I'm absolutely covered in the stuff. So I'll show you what it looks like. And then I think we'll finish off by just finishing up that little front corner and spraying it with some of that grey rust primer. So I'll show you where we're up to now. So as you can see, all painted up nicely. Obviously, I'm just doing the bits that I welded for now. I will come back in and do probably an episode on the underneath of the car, to be honest, getting it all to look the same. But yeah, it looks really good, and it should keep it nice and protected. So let's come around now and just put a bead of weld down that and paint it up. So that's all welded up. I just threw a bit of paint on it. I threw a bit of pour 15 again behind there because obviously I melted some of it off. So the only thing left to do on that is to put some seam sealant on the front of it, but I think I'll do that in between the next couple of episodes just because this is going to take a little bit of time to dry and I want to get cracking with that rear wing. So yeah, I think we'll do that off camera. So it's a bit of a bitty episode this time, but we've done a lot of important stuff that we needed to get done so that we can finish this side off basically. So we managed to seam seal everything up, cover that sill kind of opening at the back, get that all watertight, weld up that front bit and then paint everything with pour 15. So yeah, really happy with the progress. I'm going to get going with that rear wing and you'll see that next week. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. It's kind of spurring me on to keep going with it all. So yeah, if you are watching it, please subscribe, drop a comment, and like the video. And I will see you next time.